Hi, everyone. This is Jerry from Jerry Inspired and a lot of other channels. And we have someone that also wears multiple hats. This is Venessa from CreatorScore. Welcome, Venessa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. What did you dream of being when you were a kid?
A nurse.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I did for like a really, really, really long time. And then I got to university and I'm like, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is for me. I'm a much more structured, creative person. And like nursing, there's not a lot of room to be creative because you might be unlicensed at that point.
Yeah.
But basically just I went into at a young age, I quit university. I started working for the bank.
Wow.
Finance was my thing for like 7 years. Again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to just like keep going through university and just like, oh, I'll figure it out. Sometimes it's just like a big waste of time and money.
Yeah.
And so did the finance thing, worked up to be like assistant branch manager. And I was really young. I was like in my 20s. So that was really great. But I just really I knew it wasn't for me. So again, quit that and then went into web design.
Wow.
So I was just like, I think this is it for me. So you go back to school, you get the web design, you get the clients, and that was really good for a really, really long time. So obviously started dabbling into like advertising and influencers and all of that. And it's just kind of like that whole progression of like my career over the years has like brought me to where I am today.
I can imagine that first time when you decided, okay, nursing was not it.
Yeah.
And then when you decided, okay, I need to do something else after doing finance for so long, you had that precedent of already, okay, I already did the switch once. I'm not going to be as anxious, as completely lost as before.
Yeah. And I mean, it was really good to work in corporate Canada. You know, it was good to like kind of figure out, was that for me? No, it wasn't. Okay, now I know. Right. And at the same time, like, you know, you meet great people, you meet, you know, have great clients and kind of like set yourself up for success in the future because you know how to deal with clients and you know how to deal with like the general public and like, you know, finances can be kind of like hard sometimes because people are very emotional about it. But it really like helped me sell myself as well. So I got like the sales part of that. And so it's kind of like perfect. It just really did set me up for something like becoming a freelancer in web design and development. You also do have to sell yourself, right? It is a service-based business, and you are dealing with clients. And so, yeah, it's just, and now it's, you know, now I'm with CreatorScore and developing CreatorScore. I'm doing a lot less selling myself in the same aspect because I have a co-founder who is amazing. He's our CMO. He's a marketing genius. Like he's doing all the selling and I'm in the back end doing all the development. And I'm not talking to many people right now, which is very different for me. But yeah, it's been good.
How was going back to school and doing web design? Was that a full-time thing, a part-time thing?
Part-time. So a lot of, I'm a figure it out type of person. I self-teach myself everything. I have since I was little. Like if my parents were always like, you want something, like you got to figure it out for yourself. So there's a little bit of that like nature and nurture. And so my husband always say, that's what I love about you. You just figure things out. You just dive into the deep end and you'll swim your way out. You'll figure it out. And so, yeah, I'm losing my train of thought there, but what was the question? Sorry.
Oh, part-time. And
yeah, it was part-time. And so it was part-time with web design. And then a lot of it is just figuring it out. You know, you have the internet, you're taking some courses online, you're taking this, that, there's YouTube these days, you can learn anything. And so that's how I just always kind of, you know, just kept improving my skills with time. So you have the fundamentals of university and school, but then you're always having to like, you know, what are the new UI and UX kind of things, you know, what people are using and learning from that.
And so how did the idea for CreatorScore come about?
Honestly, it was because of CreatorScore kind of like popped into my head. And of course, with like AI now, we're able to do something like this, but before there's just no way we could do anything like CreatorScore. It would just be very difficult. It would take a lot more infrastructure. But basically, I was coming to I built Privy Reviews. You're getting some influencers and creators to start collecting reviews, ones that understood the value of reviews, right? But there seemed to be a little bit of a barrier when it came to creators and influencers with collecting reviews, because a lot of them were nervous about getting negative reviews, right? And because they knew they would probably get some negative reviews, because in our industry, people can be very flaky and unprofessional. And so I'm just like, okay, like, you've built it, you're doing all the groundwork, you're reaching out to influencers, there's a bit of pushback. And so I'm like, okay, what can I develop that's gonna like eliminate that barrier? And with AI, so that instead of, and influencers, a lot of them, like, it's a lot of work to collect reviews, right? So that's just another thing added to their plate. But what if I could develop software that essentially takes all of your last 30 days or last 6 months of your content, analyzes it with AI. So whether that be your tweets, your TikToks, your comment sections, everything, and then score you out of 100 based on how brand safe you are, like a credit score. And this credit score, this creator score, will update every time you add new content onto the internet. So it's like a live credit score. And so then there's no barrier. You've already made the content. All we're doing is scoring it.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Yeah, because it also, I'm thinking from a client perspective too. If I'm a brand trying to find the right influencers to reach out for sponsorships, I don't want to have to Google them myself and look at, okay, is there something from 6 years ago that might be objectionable? I just trust the score. I see what the draw is.
Yeah, and so, but also it's not just a live score. It's, we do look for past issues, right? We all know stories of, it's someone wins an award and all the internet sleuths go on to Twitter and look up, tweets from like 2008 where they said something that was deplorable. And all of a sudden they're in hot water, right? But CreatorScore has the ability to go back in time and find that and let the brand know, hey, FYI, there's a tweet from like 2008. Let's, get that to be taken down, just so you know, FYI. So it like helps with PR as well.
I like the proactive / what's the word I'm looking for? It's, you're not trying to find the dirt to expose. It's like, okay, if there's anything potentially objectionable, let's try to do something proactive to get rid of it or reconcile it, etc.
Totally, like get ahead of it.
Yeah, get ahead of it. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, like nobody wants to be embarrassed and like all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you've gone viral for the wrong reasons. But what's also really great with CreatorScore is we monitor future content. So anytime they're making new content, yes, we're scoring, but then we have a video intelligence software that literally looks at anything placed in the video, text, if there's anything illicit in there, to also, once again, warn the brand, hey, your talent right now just posted a video with like, maybe like with the song with a ton of profanity. That doesn't look good necessarily if you have like a campaign running with that individual. There's so many use cases for it, maybe, it could be for like traditional media as well, right? Like if you're running, like back in the day, it would have been like, I just watched this Netflix series, like The Biggest Loser, right? So if you had all of your talent in there and suddenly they're posting something online, you would be alerted before, again, it went viral.
What is the day in the life like for you right now, working on this brand and things like that?
Honestly, it's just building CreatorScore right now. It is, we have our weekly debriefs with my co-founder and I, and we just kind of like figure out where we are, because he's doing the cold reach out, all that, getting the demos organized, and I'm literally just in the back end, like making everything work seamlessly as much as possible.
Wow, dude, it's amazing that you took the web design stuff you learned and you're really doing it. It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and this is the first AI platform that I've ever built. And even just like 2 years ago, this would have been, you would have needed a group of like 4 senior developers to do this. But because we have AI, we have Claude, we have all that. And if you know the basics of developing and TypeScript and React, then you're off to the races. You can really, if you have the time and the tenacity, you can absolutely do anything.
One of the fundamentals that you have, for example, you know how to use TypeScript, you know how to use React, right? So I think what I'm learning from you is obviously you have to have a little bit of a foundation. AI is not going to solve all your problems, right? You have to have a little bit of foundation to know what to get AI to do, and then you can also check its work.
Yes, it's really important to like set up your project so that you have a PRD, which is your product requirement document. So that can always be referred back to, because we know AI can go off on a tangent, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's gonna be buggy code. It's gonna be a bloated code. You're gonna have so many like all these like unneeded services and debug tests. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can get out of hand very, very quickly.
What is the plan for CreatorScore? As I guess I'll narrow down the question. Are you guys trying to target specific types of influencers, or is it the goal is any type of influencer on any platform?
So right now we're targeting B2B. So it's all this right now. Yeah, so I'm really making sure that, that the score is accurate every single time. There's a lot of back end scheduled cron jobs that happen with CreatorScore. So for me there's a lot of maintenance. So if the industry wants to, like if creators or influencers or anybody online want to know what their score is, then I'll have to build out the creator side or the influencer or the individual side, because anybody that has an online fingerprint or presence can be scored.
That's your iteration right now. It's B2B. That makes sense.
Right now. And it has potential to, we do have the B2C on there. It just says like coming soon. So I would have to find the time to do that part.
How did you find your business partner? I think that's a common thing. And I'm asking for myself too, because I wish I had a team. I don't have a team right now. So how did you find your business partner?
I don't know who the creator was on LinkedIn that said this, and I have to really thank them for it. But they had said, if you want something, sometimes you need to speak it out into the universe. Sometimes it's that simple, right? You just have to say it out loud. That's what you need. If that's what you need, say it. And so I remember reading that. And then that evening I went on to Blue Sky. And this is like when Blue Sky was just blowing up. And I had said this random tweet, or not tweet, but this post. And I said, I'm thinking of developing a platform that would be called CreatorScore, and it would be a live credit score for influencers and creators online. And I didn't have any following on Blue Sky at this point. And suddenly I had like 4 people message me like, that's such a fantastic idea. I would like to talk more about that. And these are all people in the marketing industry or in the influencer industry. So David messages me and he's like, no, I think this is so great. Do you have time to talk? And so I think like a couple days later, we had a phone call or a Zoom call, and we just started talking, and just it was basically, do you want to build this with me, essentially? And it was like a resounding yes, and like, okay, let's do it. And sometimes it's that simple, right? Like if you have a really good idea and somebody sees you have a track record of being able to build something and then market, it's just like, it's a safe bet for them as well, right? Because they're putting a lot of effort and time into it as well. But and it is hard trying to find a co-founder, right? Like there's co-founding matching websites, right? Like Y Combinator has one. But sometimes it really is just speaking it out into the universe, because you can't keep it inside, because again, you have to advocate for yourself and what you need and what you want. And if nobody knows what you need or want, nobody can help you. So
You've thoroughly inspired me. I've mentioned it before that I might need some help, but I'm gonna say it more on my channels and stuff
Yes.
like that. So I
And like,
also, you Blue Sky should pay you to be their spokesperson. You're making a real good case for. I got a Blue Sky. I never made anything on there, but I got a Blue Sky. I'm like, oh, this is just seems like it's Twitter but less crazy, right? And it's like you just made a reason to use Blue Sky. Whoa, you like made a post for the first time. I found your co-founder.
I know, because there's so many great minds there. No, I love Blue Sky. Blue Sky is just like such a great platform. I love that it's a protocol software. I really like their CEO. I saw her at South by Southwest. It's just such a great.
I roomed with her one summer, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's why I got Blue Sky, because I was like, whoa, she went on to found Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And so I even reached out to her, when I'm trying to find people to interview, I reached out to her. I was like, hey, do you remember me? You wanna interview? She's of course busy. She didn't get back to me. But yeah, small tangent, small world.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I was like, wow. She was a year younger than me. So like I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, good for her. Like
maybe I'll send her this talk. You're like, okay, please interview with me.
absolutely. Yeah, you just keep shooting your shot. I don't know who it was, but somebody had to message like their favorite tech CEO something like 40 times before they got an interview.
Yeah, don't be afraid to be annoying, right? That's something in our day and age we kind of forgot. Partly, I don't blame it. We had that lockdown thing. It messed us up a lot, like mentally and socially. So sometimes we realize, okay, we just have to remember when is it acceptable to be a little annoying. And just like outreach, it's okay to be a little annoying.
Yeah, be annoying until you're told to stop and like, okay.
For example, just to tell you guys, to set up this talk with Venessa, we both got busy. So we both it took us a while to get this talk going, but I didn't find it annoying. I don't think you found it annoying. We just knew we both were busy.
When it happens, it happens.
Apply this and think about outreach, think about marketing. Like a lot of times things just happen. It's just like, okay, well, it gets done and then it gets done and then we have a cool conversation.
Honestly, and if you want something, you do have to advocate for yourself and ask. And sometimes many times. Yeah. I really like when I went to South by Southwest this last it was March in Austin, Texas. And for someone, I'm not super extroverted. Like I'm introverted and I'm very happy to be by myself. So for me to go out and just talk to everybody I can about CreatorScore and it's uncomfortable, but with practice you become better. Like anything, right? So if it's not natural, it is so hard sometimes. Honestly, sometimes it feels like I have to physically move myself to do it because it's such a block in my mind. But yeah, with sales, it is, again, if you can find a co-founder that kind of perfectly suits your different skill set, that's what you want. David is a go-getter. He will knock on every single door and annoy anybody to get, and he's been so great with getting the demos. We've been so fortunate. Wow. So that's been really, really nice that I haven't had to do it as much, obviously. I'm happy to talk about CreatorScore and go into group settings and talk about it. But yeah, it's just if you can find a co-founder that has different skill sets than you, then it's going to be a perfect partnership.
And how long are your usual demos when you do meet with a prospective client?
It depends on the client. Sometimes I only have 30 minutes tops. And so David's really good by having a demo deck, right? So it's not there's no wasted time, right? So he speaks, I speak, slide, open for questions. Here's a live demo kind of thing. We had a demo with NBC Universal. They only have 30 minutes, right? So you have to be on it. Yeah. So it's stressful, but it's fun. And you learn so much from those times.
And are most of the demos virtual, or is it a mix of virtual and in person?
It's all virtual. David's in Minnesota and I'm in Canada, right? So we're quite far apart. But if need be, if the client wants to see more than you, yeah, I'm happy to hop on a plane.
That makes sense. And I guess we might as well talk very briefly about Privy Reviews, because you mentioned that CreatorScore kind of came out of you working on Privy Reviews. So what happened? What was Privy Reviews?
So Privy Reviews is essentially like a Google Reviews or Trustpilot for influencers.
Oh, now I put two and two together. That's how, okay, that makes sense now.
Right. So when I talked about like the barrier of collecting reviews as an influencer or creator can be fairly daunting for people that don't understand the value of a review, right? Because it's context, it's basically word of mouth marketing. And it helps your reputation online, right? Somebody doesn't know you or a brand doesn't know you and you have great reviews from past brand partnerships. That's really going to help. And it's also going to help you be paid more as well, because brands can see your value then.
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to have a website and I would collect when viewers basically talked a lot of like heartwarming stuff in my comments, right?
Yeah.
And so what you guys offered was like, okay, let me just do it for you, because eventually I stopped doing that. I'm like, why would I, if I get like 100, why would I collect all of them? Isn't that a little self-indulgent? But like, you can't think like that. You got to think like, that's 100 people really liking your stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, if you have a landing page, that's your review page, you could just ask your audience to review you. And then on Privy, you're ranked based on how well you're reviewed. So that's just more online visibility for you as well, in a way to like, it's free marketing essentially. So
do you plan on expanding your team, or what's the kind of 5-year plan? Or maybe 5-year plan is too far out, but what's the 2-year plan?
Yeah, so with CreatorScore, Privy Reviews is pretty like self-functioning right now, but with CreatorScore, we would absolutely have to expand. It'll have to be things like more developers, you know, probably a social media manager somewhere, and you know, most likely like a data scientist, right? Because we're right to have the most accurate scores, and for those scores to be trusted, like you need some sort of scientific data mined.
Yeah.
You know, so like right now we're just using a lot of ChatGPT to like, you know, you are a data scientist and you know how would you score this, and like it's been really good, but obviously to have somebody that's, you know, a professional to do that would be ideal.
This is a great little topic to talk about, because as much as generative AI is good, that's one of the limitations, is that it doesn't replace a real specialist. And my story I always tell people is, I last year just decided to take a tax class, and then this year I passed the test, right? So I could do people's taxes if I did a few more things, but at least knowledge-wise, I was there. So I would use ChatGPT, and I'm like, you're getting like 20% of the stuff wrong.
Yeah.
But that's an example. Like, that's why someone who might not know the limitation will be like, well, if you're using ChatGPT doing data science, why can't you just keep doing it? It's because the data scientists will also see, oh, it's getting 20% of some of the logic wrong.
Yeah. And like the human experience has so much nuance as well, right? Like, and only humans understand that. AI can try for the most part, but it's not perfect. Not yet.
Yeah. I want to point out something really quickly. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly just to share you guys something really cool. I've never seen this amazing UX design. Let me see if I can replicate it. When before I went on the page, the cookie thing's not showing anymore because I accepted it. But you guys have a beautiful like accept cookie thing. I've never seen good UX UI design like that. That's your training right there. Yeah. Good job.
Exactly. Something that's like visual, but easy to use, a lot of it, right? You have that that user interface, that user experience kind of thing. And that's what with CreatorScore, that's I'm always thinking like, well, how is a user going to use this? Remember, they're not technical like me. You can't assume they're going to know what to do.
Yeah. Since we're on the topic of AI, where do you think AI is going to go in these next few years? Is it going to replace all of us, or are you more like, I think we're still going to love the inhuman thing? We humans are still very legit.
I don't think it'll replace us. It couldn't. There's just no way. A lot of times you have to understand that, like, for me, when I think of like an LLM, large language model, is like, all it is an expensive aggregator of human knowledge. That's all it is. Yeah. Right? Like there is no LLM except without us, right? And we're always learning, experimenting, always on the hunt for new knowledge and experiences, and like AI could never replicate that and never will. And like, I guess there's lots of new papers that have come out from like Meta and Apple saying, you know, like, oh, we've kind of assumed AI could do a lot of things we don't think it actually can. So I think it's always going to be a tool that we use to like help us be more productive and maybe like help us or help doctors like solve, you know, certain tasks or diseases or like that kind of research, but it will never replace us. I'm confident.
I think you and I are very on the same page about that. I guess I don't know what you call me, a tech optimist or something, but yeah, I'm very much about that. I think I got into chess 2 years ago, and I think I mentioned to you I studied chess, right? And
That's awesome.
it was one of those things. AI has only made chess more fun. It's not replaced us. Yes, you can watch AI play chess with each other, but who wants to do that? You want to learn to play chess, right?
Exactly.
Especially for Gen Z, I think a lot of them are feeling lost. What advice would you give them? This whole world, this whole job market. What's advice? You have kids?
Yes, I have. I have Gen Alpha kids. I have a almost 9-year-old and an almost 5-year-old.
Wow.
And I just turned 40 this year. So I am kind of like that later millennial. So I've lived a life before the internet, my entire childhood up until I was like 10, 11. And things are changing so rapidly. You know, as Gen Z, they're very impressionable years in their teenage years up into their early 20s of like so much in that time frame has changed for them, right? So a lot of them maybe probably feel like, you know, what's happening next? What do I like? They're always just being thrown into things like, oh, the job market's obviously so different now. You know, AI is being used to like read CVs and resumes, and you know, it's just really everyone's freaking out, like everyone's being laid off from tech or from other companies, and it's like, well, am I going to have a career, you know, now or maybe until I'm 65 when I want to retire? Like, there's so much uncertainty. I just feel really bad for them. So advice I would be to, again, because of, you know, because of AI, I think it's really important to always be eager to learn and to be like kind of a generalist, right? Because if you want to get a job, you're gonna want to know, like, can you figure things out, right? Because tech is changing so quickly. How fast can you adapt? Do you know AI? Do you know how to prompt? Do you know simple things like, do you know what an array is or a function? Like knowing like simple like coding things as well would be really helpful. But like have an eagerness to learn new things. Be proactive in the way of learning new things. Like don't wait for someone to say you need to know this. You should know it. Like I said, with coding and stuff, it's going to give you a little bit of a leg up. But just be like a fix-it person, right? Like dabble in as much tech as you can, because I think that would really showcase that you have tenacity and like an eagerness to learn. And if you can figure things out, that's like a huge skill. So that's what I would suggest.
There was so much emphasis in us becoming specialists
Mm-hmm.
when we were in our education system, but I was always the guy. I would always argue against that. I always was like, you can't tell us. I don't know how it was in Canada, but in America, until college, like high school, middle school, you had at least 7 classes per day.
Yeah.
So you're building 7 interests plus extracurriculars, and then you have to limit it down to 4 or 3 or 5 classes in college, and then eventually 1 career path and a hobby.
Yeah.
You can't tell the human mind to do that. So I always argue with people like, no, you gotta like be a generalist too. Yes, get good at something, but be a generalist. You'd be willing to take skills and transfer it to different approaches and also keep learning.
Absolutely. I think so. It's so, especially with the layoffs happening, like, is it going to be you or Susie? Susie refuses to learn any, you know, the new CRM or whatever, but like you've already mastered it. Like obviously you're staying.
Yeah, basically. Do you use content management system in your backend, or or are you building it from scratch?
It's all scratch.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
So my first job out of college, we were using like one of those like content management systems, like CMS, I guess they're called, and it was so bad. And I remember thinking to myself, why don't they just build it themselves? Like, we're wasting more time trying to figure out the back end than actually just like building it.
I know, it's so true. And yeah, our backend with CreatorScore is completely custom. Yeah, it's just easier for me to do that because it can be customized to exactly what I need, and I know what my customers will want from me. So that's what I opted to do that. And with AI, it's just I can build so much faster. So
I think that's the thing that I might see, or I predict we might see, like a lot of these CMS systems might go the way of the dinosaur, because now with AI, it's easy for people with a little bit of tech understanding just build it themselves.
exactly.
Are there any other topics, any other things you want to talk about while we have you?
In like your opinion, do you think in like an industry of people online, or specifically creators or influencers, do you think a credit score is something that would be valuable to them?
I, in my gut, think it's awesome because you have a number to show people. That's why when I heard it, I'm like, wow. Nobody thought about this until you guys. I'm sure there's other people maybe with the skill, but you guys like really thought about it and built something, because it's like there's all these influencers and every company has a different metric to measure you. I'm sure you heard this in marketing. There's something called vanity metrics. Your followers don't exactly, it's not the most important metric, right? But like sometimes there are companies where they'll measure you and it's almost insulting. It's like they'll basically only see you as, oh, what can this person do for me? They don't see you as anything else. So I like this score as like a middle ground. There's trust involved, there's human connection involved, but it also of course measures, okay, how much influence you have. It's like, I like this metric. It takes away from some of like the capitalist pure, you're a moneymaker metrics, but it takes away from the vanity metrics too.
I think a lot of it is, the vanity brands they're still. And even though in our industry we've moved on from things like engagement rate and all of that, but the engagement rate is so different with CreatorScore and how we measure it. It's not what your exact engagement rate is, but what is the quality of your engagement? Are they bots, right? Are they real active accounts? What is that? And that's such a small percentage of our credit score, our creator score, but the biggest weight is brand safety, right? Like, are you making content that is knowledgeable, helpful, or could it potentially be, social media doesn't self-govern anymore. You can post whatever, right? Like TikTok does a little bit, but like Meta doesn't. And so I feel like it's kind of like, I have kids growing up and they're going to be in like the social media world. And so if CreatorScore can make the internet a little bit safer for them. That's what I want.
And I think about, for example, there are extensions for web browsers. Web of Trust comes to mind, where it's like it rates every website, right? It almost gives like a check or a thumbs down. So it's like, again, I think this concept is awesome. I think that's like when I used that extension, I'm like, oh, this website, it's got a few, right? Like so people need to be able to have these abilities to make snap decisions, and you guys are given a tool for that.
Yeah. So like if in the future we had some sort of web browser widget, and you saw your child on YouTube and every channel had like a creator score, and like a YouTube channel had like, maybe it was 40 out of 100. As a parent, you'd be like, oh, wow, they're not brand safe. So maybe they're not safe at all. So don't watch that channel, right? So it's like helpful.
Yeah. And it would be helpful for me because my biggest channel is a martial arts channel. And obviously with martial arts, there's a little bit of violence, right? So like for me, I want to see, okay, is this a long-term thing? I mean, I've been at it for a while, but it's like, obviously violence is always the thing, but there's obviously like Ninja Turtles violence, Power Rangers violence versus like fighting on the street, which I don't cover, of course. So it's like, I would love to know, like, what would a third party rate my channel?
Yeah.
And another reason for this is YouTube gets us nervous all the time because it changes its community standards all the time. And, it's gotten more strict on violence, but then like it's gotten less strict on cursing. So it's just like little things change. So then I want a platform that is not YouTube kind of rating me, you know, because I want to see like YouTube's its own bubble as much as it's still a very big platform. I want to see like what outside of YouTube, what some person might think, right? It's important to get third-party views on your content, on your brand safety.
Yeah. And a lot of it is like, well, because martial arts it's an art form at the end of the day. And so a scoring system would have to know the nuance of that. It's not just mindless violence.
Yeah.
Right? Like these people have trained for many years, which actually my son is about to get his black belt in Taekwondo.
Wow, congrats.
So we'll have to slide that in because a little proud mama moment.
Yeah.
And my daughter's in jujitsu, so I understand.
Oh, great.
So I have an appreciation for the martial arts, obviously. So I think a lot of it's like understanding the nuance of, because you know, sometimes swearing is okay, right? It is self-expression, but in what context?
Yes.
So yeah, you're just having to like, and again, with our scoring system, it is really having to like fine tune and understand like the nuance of, say, videos, like, yeah, whether it be, you know, yeah, needless street fighting outside of a bar or like an actual like, you know, competition at, you know, a Taekwondo studio would be completely different.
From a UI UX and maybe even like a product management perspective, it almost feels like where technology is going. See, back in the day, product managers might sit down, let's say 20 prospective users of their product and like do that kind of like panel type of feedback, right? But it feels like with AI, you almost can, I wouldn't say completely bypass that, but you can have other ways of figuring out what your prospective clients might want to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, with AI, people are building MVPs in a weekend and then shipping them, launching them, trying to get any kind of feedback on it, and then either trashing it or, you know, pivoting or keep building. That's what you can do now.
Yeah.
It's just like fast now.
Yeah, exactly. How long did it take you and your business partner to build the first MVP?
Well, so this is the thing. I was like, initially, I'm like, I'm just going to build an MVP, but I'm like, this with the speed now with AI and how everyone is building so quickly, it's like you almost have to skip the MVP in a way, because I'm like, somebody's going to get a hold of the idea of CreatorScore, and if they're building it faster than I am, then we're hooped. And so essentially, I'm just like, I have the knowledge, I have the resources, I have the ability. Let's just keep going, because ideally, like, I want brands that are enterprises. And so they don't want to dabble in an MVP, right? They want full software. They're looking for that. So that's, I'm just like, you know what, if that's what we need, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's so interesting. This is another potential topic we could talk about in the future, because the whole design process, right? Whether you go iterative or you go whatever it's called, waterfall, like it's changed a little because of the speed. Like you mentioned, speed. Wow. Like this is kind of mind blowing. I didn't even think about it, but I guess I'll gather my thoughts in the future. And if we want to do another talk in the future, we can talk about this more. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff you learn from project management, program management, product management, some of those paradigms will have to tweak a little for AI. I'm sure the courses have been tweaking. I just haven't taken one yet.
Yeah, I don't think like university courses have quite tweaked, because they're obviously a lot of it's just logic and building infrastructure, and you do need to know how to build complex systems, right? Which is so important, because we know AI can hallucinate and do a bunch of things. It is a tool. It's never going to replace developers ever. It would never replace, sorry, a senior developer. It will and has replaced junior developers. So yeah, and I think like AI's been out for like 2 years now. What's it gonna be like in a year from now? You know, like I use Claude Code. Claude Code's great. You do have to keep an eye on it, because she can go a little crazy sometimes. But if you know what she's doing and you're really good at prompting, you can build things out so fast. And so I see her updating weekly. It's always so much better. I'm like, in 6 months, this is going to be so powerful.
And what made you decide to go with Claude compared to the other generative AIs?
I like the output of code that Claude is. And because of Claude Code, I can actually prompt and develop right in CLI in the terminal. So it's so fast. And then her I don't know why I'm saying her. I don't know what. I don't know.
I'm coming, Claude. Yeah.
They. But the context is getting longer and longer now too. Right? So that's really great. And so you're not always having to like compact or exit out of the conversation and then redoing it so you get the context back. But I really like what they're doing over at Claude. I really do.
I think that was a big step for all the LLMs because yeah, for a while it's like, oh yeah, it didn't get the entire context. You would have to like reestablish stuff. But I don't know if Claude started or ChatGPT started, but one of them started and all the other ones are like, yeah, now we're going to look at all your prompts, all your conversations. We're going to like know more about it. I'm like, that was brilliant what they did.
Like Perplexity was the first one to be able to search online.
Yeah.
You know, OpenAI and Anthropic were like, whoa, why are we do that too? Because you do get a huge market share because of that.
Yeah.
So, and now with like multi MCPs protocols, like now I'm able to use tools within Cloud Code, which is even more fantastic. And that's a whole nother discussion, but like I'm just like the fact that I can have Cloud Code connect to my Supabase database, to Stripe, to all these things. So they're all just talking. It's fantastic. And I just nerd over it. I
love this. Like, it's like, I haven't really talked to someone for a while who can just like, we can really appreciate where everything's going. So this is great. And if I had to give people advice, I'm like have this attitude towards all this stuff. Like kind of like when we were growing up and it was like, oh, like there's YouTube. Oh, there's websites. Like, let's explore, like be like that. I just sometimes remind myself to awaken that again, to like try to get into this LLM generative AI stuff more. Yeah. And in this economy, like if you're not doing it and learning it, somebody else is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you need that other side. It's like other people are doing it, so don't get left behind. Sometimes you need that type of reinforcement too. It's also like a character thing too. Like some people love to learn. Right? Like you see people like, oh, some people just like to like, and this is totally fine. You can do whatever you want in your own time, but like want to like melt into the couch and watch, Netflix or whatever. But like other people are just like, no, I want to read and I want to do all, like those people probably go a little bit farther. So it sounds like maybe in the future, I should talk to your CMO or something like that. That might be a fun thing. Like talk about more of the marketing, the sales aspects of stuff like that. David, oh my gosh, the amount of knowledge. He's so funny. He said to me on Wednesday when we have our briefs, he's like, I'll literally just go on Reddit and I'll see people with like business ideas. And he's like, I will draft them up a business plan. Because he's like, I just love doing it. Yeah. Right. And he's like 99% of those people will never do it because anybody can iterate an idea. It's the execution of that idea. And not just initially executing, it is the grind. And the disappointment, and then picking yourself up and keeping going. That a lot of people don't have that ability. So he's just like, yeah, I give out business plans, and I think it's really fun for me, and I do, and I'm like, that's so funny. And that's who he is. I want to emphasize the word grind, right? Part of the reason this channel I'm interviewing on, why I didn't grind, was because I had other channels, but I should have realized everything takes a grind. I wish I worked a little bit more on this channel when some of my other channels were doing really well, because I would have been like, yeah, like don't just like put this on the side, like grind it while the other channels are doing well. So then you got more stuff doing well, right? Like I got re-inspired to work on this channel this year again. And I was like, man, if only I had this inspiration a few years ago when I started the channel, and then I took a little break. I'm like, it would be somewhere, right? So encourage people. Grinding is inevitable. Consistency at the end of the day, right? Like small, they always say like every overnight success is actually like took 10 years to build. Yes. Just because you heard of it now doesn't mean that person was crying just like a year ago thinking it was all going to go to shit and it was done, right? Like that's not the case. Yeah, exactly. I think we talked about a lot of good stuff, a lot of good like encouraging stuff. So yeah, Venessa, thank you so much. I think great stopping point here. So Venessa from CreatorScore and Privy Reviews, and I'm sure we'll have you back in the future, and we'll also talk to the CMO David sometime. That'd be great. He'd love that.